Aloha. I'm coming to you in true naptime empires fashion, hiding in the bathroom while Noe sleeps in our hotel room. We're in Hawaii right now, which is part of my hashtag on her terms lifestyle. When I suggested to my husband the idea of joining the reserves after he left active duty years ago, this was all part of my plan so that we could keep one foot over the rainbow and get to come back and visit every now and then. So we are enjoying Noe's first visit to Hawaii and looking forward to connecting with old friends and beautiful places that have meant so much to us. And some conversations I've been having with friends and clients recently sparked an idea of something I would love to anchor in for you and me in terms of confidence and redefining confidence, or just taking time to define it, period, like what it actually means to you. Because if you're anything like me, every now and then, or lots of times, you can find yourself being pretty wobbly. And maybe there's not really a specific reason for it, but having and taking time to actually think about what confidence looks and feels and tastes and smells like for you is a valuable exercise so that you can see what you can control and how you can spark confidence cooties for yourself on demand within reason. And so when I'm talking about confidence, so you can tap back and keep this in your pocket for any time that you're feeling a little Eeyore. Happens a lot for me in week 4 of my cycle, but just feeling like, what do I have to offer? What am I doing? Like, it's inevitable and it happens and it's fine and it's a cycle and it's valuable feedback. But what's also valuable is, like I said, to define and create our own list, a spark menu of sorts, to know that, like, here's when, how, and why I feel in full power mode. And it's important to define for me when I'm saying confidence, I'm not meaning arrogance, which is to think that I'm better than anyone, but it's also not deference in terms of feeling like anyone's better than me. It's like really practicing feeling in your heart at sea level, grounded like a tree, where you've got the roots that go deep and then the branches and flowers that stretch up tall. It's like you being your whole self and taking up all the space that you were designed to take up in this lifetime. No more and no less. And I was watching YouTube the other day, and the algorithm served up, I was watching it on like probably something related to Marvel, Doctor Strange, or a recent movie that I had watched, but it served up a video, the algorithm served up a video on confidence, and it was, I think, an FBI guy, and he was talking about nonverbal communication and signs of what people do that can display or portray confidence. And so it's like, yeah, standing up straight makes me think of Amy Cuddy and her TEDx talk about power poses and stuff, of like shoulders back and taking up space. But it was also about taking time and not necessarily rushing through whatever you're saying. So people who appear to be confident are taking their sweet time to say whatever it is that they need to say. They're not rushing and just trying to get in and out so that they're not stepping on anyone's toes. Of course, literally, we don't want to step on anyone's actual toes. But there's a difference when we're feeling like we got to get in and get out. Even if you're recording a podcast or making a post and you're like, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to say this quick so that I don't keep you. And there is absolutely a degree of consideration that's valuable and important in human communication. We're not trying to just ramble on and on, but at the same time, rushing is a disservice as well. So there's a sign of confidence when you're just like, okay, I'm here, I'm fully present, and you think about yourself as a puzzle piece in humanity, filling your shape all the way to the edges. So that's a visual for you. Again, there's the tree visual of being like really rooted and grounded all the way down, and then also all the way up with the branches. And you absolutely, I'm sure, have heard me talk about John DeMartini, but one of the helpful visuals for me is when he talks about careless, caring, and careful communication. And you think about putting people on a pedestal or down in the pit. So pedestal is if you're looking up at people or thinking highly of yourself, and then down is if you're looking down at people in the pit or yourself. And the goal is to be, like I said, even at sea level, so that people aren't, they're in your heart. They're not higher or lower. They're just in your heart. And this is for everyone. That's the ideal, because if you're looking up at someone, you're going to be careful in your communication. You're walking on eggshells because you don't want them to be mad at you or to think less of you or whatever. because you're already thinking less of you by putting them on a pedestal and putting you below them. And then likewise, you might be careless if you have someone in the pit and you think you're better than them and you're higher than them. But none of that is real. What's real is being caring and having them in your heart. So that's another helpful visual. If you could see me pointing up and across and down, that one across communication is a communication nerd term, like one up and one down. We used to have to go through and find clips. I think I used The Story of Us as my example in grad school. It was like an interpersonal conflict class. And we were talking about one up, where you're like trying to put somebody down, or one down. Anyway, and then across, like literally drawing arrows. But it's helpful to me to have a visual and thinking about it. So confidence comes from really, truly having yourself and whoever it is that you're interacting with, whether it's someone that you're walking past, whether you're actually giving a presentation online or in person. And it's about having yourself grounded and present enough to be like seeing the humanity in everybody and the divinity in everybody, and not putting yourself in a wobbly temporal position of being cocky or being too humble. Because what's true and authentic is a blend of both for you and for whoever you're interacting with. That's a sidebar. That's like the little nerdy field guide piece. But now I would like to move into the question-y piece to encourage you to define this for yourself. So I'm going to give you some prompts to think about, what does confidence, well, again, what does it even mean to you? How do you define it? And again, I'm not talking about arrogance and cockiness where you think like, oh yeah, like I got nothing to learn, but just like fully embodying your place and your space in humanity, in the room, in the thread, whatever it is. So what does confidence look and feel and sound and smell and taste like? And I really mean it. I want you to go to specific moment where and when you have perceived yourself to feel confidence. What were you doing? What were you wearing? How were you sitting, standing? How were you speaking? How were people responding to you? And it's important. I don't want you to go back and think, oh, well, it was like when I was making a lot of money and I had a great launch, and because that's conditional outside and that's fine and it can count. But I also want you to think about, for me, for example, like when I worked at the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center before I was an employee, and I wasn't even getting paid. So it had nothing to do with the amount of money that I was making. So I can think of moments where I have felt confident and I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I can think of moments when I felt confident and I was making no money at all. And the point is, what's the common thread? What's the lowest common denominator? What is the shared golden thread of your confidence cooties? So literally make a list. I would love it. I mean, go for it. Go to town. Get your pen, get your paper, and actually write down what are some examples where I have felt like full power, totally myself, and really comfortable in my skin. Like I said, an example where you were making great money, an example that has absolutely nothing to do with money, an example where you were dressed up and feeling like, yes, this is my favorite outfit. This is like this makes me feel like me, plus plus. And then also when you've been full confidence in your jammies and maybe looking frumpy, air quotes, from the outside, but still feeling fully confident. What were the common threads that were within your immediate control? Okay, so make a list. What are the common threads? What was happening? How were you taking care of yourself at that time? How were you taking care of others at the time? How were you speaking to yourself? And how were you speaking to others? There's that phrase, fake it till you make it. I don't love it. I've never really loved it. But another way that might feel a little more authentic or organic, if you will, is to get nerdy. Like I said, we just watched Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And so in the multiverse, if all time is now, like it's all happening in multiple universes, what if you already are and have like everything that you were ever going to do and be, everything that you dream of? So for me, published author, best-selling author is one example. Like, okay, What would I do? How would I act? How would I speak? How would I be? How would I think and show up differently if that had already happened? You've already accomplished, air quotes, all the things that you want to accomplish. How would you show up differently? Like I said, for yourself and for others, because you know when you're in a good mood, because you're checking your boxes, you're filling your hearts, like you've actually been spinning that lazy Susan of your highest values, and a little bit of everything has actually been part of your day. You know that you're so much more likely to be kind and generous with other people, right? Because your cup is full. That's confidence. So it's about figuring out, what can I do to control and to spark and ignite that for myself. So if all time is now, and you've already accomplished all those things that you want to accomplish, you've done all those things, you've felt and experienced those things, then how would you show up differently in this moment? How can you act as that version of yourself? Because you are that version of yourself. This is a nerdy conversation, but I find it fun. I hope you find it fun. I would love to hear your thoughts and what it sparks for you in the comment box. So click the link and talk back to me, because I would love to know how you're doing. I know it's been a little bit since the last episode. There's a lot more to come. I've been taking notes of my inspired ideas over here, and I promise I'll be sharing them with you. But in the meantime, I just wanted to give you some food for thought on confidence, and to think about what is within your immediate control. Think about what it looks and feels like for you, and what were those commonalities. And for real, I would love to hear about it. Like what were keys to those moments of you feeling like, yes, this is me, a Greatest Showman style. Okay, I'm sending you love from Honolulu. I hope you're doing well. I know there's a lot happening out there. This is a little bit of love from my heart to yours, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, technically that was the end of the episode, but since you're still here, 1, I'd love to thank you for spending part of your day with me, and 2, I'd love to ask you if you would take 30 seconds, maybe 60, to leave a rating and review in your podcast app before you tap out today. If you've already done that, it's amazing. Please send me a screenshot so I can thank you personally, and know that sharing this episode with a friend has the same magical powers, and I deeply appreciate both. Also, in case you're listening to the end to see if I ever actually introduce myself, hi! My name is Nikki Elledge Brown. I'm the host and author of Naptime Empires and this here On Her Terms podcast. You can find me around the internet at Nikki Elledge Brown in most places, but what you may appreciate most is actually over at onherterms.com. It's what I call the insider library. It's where you can get inside scoop, first listen rights, email updates every time there's a new episode, and then special insider only bonus content. It's all over in our private feed. Okay, that's a wrap for real. I'll meet you in the next episode.